In today's video, I'm tackling my dirty, unorganized pantry. I will be taking everything out, scrubbing the floor, baseboards, and shelves, decluttering, and creating a functional, interchangeable system on a budget. Although expensive, high-end, Pinterest-worthy pantries are great to look at, paying $15 per container doesn't make financial sense for many of us. Sometimes aesthetics aren't always functional, especially in a pantry, which is an essential and frequented area of the kitchen. Come along with me as I transform this hidden disaster to a space I am proud of and adds value to my kitchen. So this is what I'm dealing with today. My pantry has been completely neglected for months. Because it has a door, it's an easy area to throw things that I don't have a home for, just to deal with them later. There is no rhyme or reason to anything. It's literally getting to the point where if I pull something off one of the shelves, other things come flying down with it. And I'm going to be honest, there are days where if something falls on the floor, I don't even care. I just leave it there and come back and put it away later. Things have been pretty chaotic with Thanksgiving. I did host Thanksgiving. So this pantry has definitely taken a beating, and this needs to be done like yesterday. So I'm really happy that I'm finally taking some time to get to this so that as Christmas gets here or the new year, I'm starting off with a clean, fresh slate and a functional pantry. So here I am starting to just pull everything out. I was absolutely dreading this because there's so much stuff in here. I'm sure you guys have experienced this before. I think this was the part of this whole process that I dreaded the most. But yes, I'm going through and I'm just going to pull out every single item of this pantry and put it wherever I can in the kitchen to get going. Okay, so I've got everything out of the pantry. It's either piled up on the table here or it is on these counters. Everything that's expired or trash, I've thrown away. And then this is kind of what we have left going on in here. I'll be pulling all of this out and scrubbing the floor. Look at this, you guys. I mean, there's a dog hair. It is so gross. I don't even want to know what's behind these water bottles, but we're about to find out. And then I'll be cleaning the baseboards as well obviously before I put anything back in here. And somehow there was a piece of sandpaper. Not really sure where that came from. The shelves definitely need a scrubbing. So I will be scrubbing all of these shelves and cleaning all of this out. And then I have some labels that I'm going to be making. So over here, I purchased these wood blanks. I'm going to paint them. And then I will be using these labels I purchased. All of this stuff is from Amazon. These labels will either be going on the containers or you'll see what I'm going to do with these. I also have, you can't see it, but in here some Velcro dots. So make sure to watch till the end so that you can see what I end up doing with these labels. So what I'm going to be doing now is getting these painted so that they can dry. And then while those are drying, I'm going to go into the pantry and start cleaning the shelves and the floors in there. Okay, so I've got all these painted. I'm not really sure how many I'm gonna need, so I just kind of guessed. And while those are drying, I am going to come over here and start cleaning out this disaster and wiping down all of the shelves before I start putting everything back and organizing it. So I am going to scrub these shelves the best I can. They need paint, so no matter how hard I try, there will be spots that don't look the best. And I noticed spots where I thought they were dirty, but are actually missing paint altogether. So that is a project for another day. For now, I'm going to make the best of it. I purchased about 8 of these from Dollar Tree, and my thought with these was to use them to organize all of my canned goods. So now that I have the pantry all cleaned out, I'm going to go ahead and start placing these in the canned goods first and see how that ends up turning out. Since I have to use a step ladder to reach the top shelf, I'm going to put the items I don't use as often up there. I decided this section here will be beans. I've got all kinds of different canned beans, so I'm going to put them together by the type of beans they are along this whole shelf. We rarely eat beans, so this just makes the most sense to me. I'm going to use these large pasta containers from Dollar Tree for these bagged beans, which will make it easier to see how much I have and if I need to buy more. So the top shelf is done. Everything I've got up here are things that I really just don't use too often. I use the oats rarely when I'm baking. And like I said before, beans we just don't eat very often. And then there are also some canned potatoes up there. Those are just in case of emergency. So I'm on the second shelf here and I'm placing items that we do use more often. Over here, I am going to place all of our soups. And again, this shelf is going to be a lot of canned goods that we use a little bit more often than the top shelf. Okay, so I've moved these over here. I just didn't like them right there. I feel like they're kind of ugly, so I put them in this corner here instead, and it works better with the lids. That way they kind of sit flush. And then I've moved all my soup over this way here, and I think this will work. And then even, I'll probably have, I'm not sure how I'm gonna label it yet, but this way I can tell this is the chicken noodle I have. This is how much cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, tomato, etc., etc. And then I've got my bouillon back there with my chicken broth. I felt like that kind of goes together. As a matter of, maybe I will move these and switch them out here so it's all soup coming along here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Trying to figure all this out. Just seems to make better sense to kind of put all of this stuff together. And then I've just got this baby chicken broth here. I used a lot of chicken broth on Thanksgiving. I used a lot of everything on Thanksgiving, it seems like. So I do have a lot of replacing to do. So yeah, we'll put these soups back here. And then it will make more sense. There we go. There, okay. So we've got all the broths here and the bouillon and then all of the soups here, and then these, we really don't eat them. I just kind of had them around in case of emergency, of loss of power or who knows. So that's why we have quite a bit of these. And these are kind of the soups that we would eat or use most often. So now we're moving on. So I'm starting on the shelf below, and over here in the corner, I've added a lot of the meat. So we've got the chicken breast, the Vienna sausages, the Spam. Again, these here are kind of like these soups. They're kind of here more for an emergency situation. So that's why I have them off in the corner. These aren't something that we would typically use very often. So I've got them here in the corner, and then I figured might as well keep all the meats together. So we've got the chicken breast and then the tuna here. And I do eat tuna a lot, so I want to keep some space here to obviously add more to that. also added SpaghettiOs here. Just, they're kind of random. They're for an emergency situation as well. You can just pop it open and eat them. Not my everyday cuisine, so that's why these are kind of over here as well. Didn't really know where else to put them. And then this is basically fruit. We don't have a lot of canned fruit. Some pineapple bits, this peaches, and then I added coconut milk, kind of segueing into baking items. So we've got the pumpkin, coconut milk, I've got baking soda here, some chocolate chips and marshmallows. I don't have a lot of cookie mix. I used a lot of that up the last month, so I'll probably add more cookie mix and I can kind of shuffle things around. But for now, that's where I'm going to keep a lot of my baking items. All of my sugars, brown sugar, that kind of stuff I have in a cabinet with all my spices, so that stuff isn't in the pantry. And then we have the raisins that we use a lot of raisins. I'm just going to stick those there because I use them in baking a lot. So I'm going to stick the raisins there in the corner. And then we have our pancake mix here. And I don't know if I'm going to stick that here, but I kind of want to keep it with the syrups and whatnot. So we're going to move on. And I'll see where I end up putting that. So you can kind of see how this section here ended up coming out. It's really hard to get the tripod in here to film up close. So this is the second shelf below. It's actually the third shelf down. So we've got my top shelf there going down here to the third shelf in the corner. And then below that, I have a huge bag of salt, and I think this is flour, and then this is yeast, and those are just going to stay right there. I don't want to take them out of the bags, and I'm trying to get as much stuff up off the floor because, as you could see in the beginning of the video, it does nothing but, crumbs fall behind it and everything. I'll have a few things on the floor, but I don't want a lot on the floor, so I'm just going to leave these here in this corner, kind of off to the side, just leave them be. So now we'll move on to the rest of this shelf here and figure out where we're going to put. I think I'm going to start putting rice here and pasta and whatnot. So we'll move on to that. So now that the wood rectangle blanks are dry, I'm going to go ahead and start choosing the labels I will be using in the pantry and affixing them to the blanks. Now I'm going to take these Velcro dots here and affix them to the back of the labels. They're sticky on each side, so they'll stick to the back of the label and they'll also stick to the shelf. So if I need to shuffle things around in here, I can easily change the labels. Pantries are very fluid, so I think an interchangeable labeling system is the way to go. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. We have got all the beans right up here on the top, and these seem to be working out well. They've stayed there, stayed put. And then we've got our oats in the corner here, all of our canned potatoes. This is actually tortillas. I'm not 100% sure if that's where they're gonna stay. Tortillas are always really funky and hard to figure out where to put them. So for right now, they're up there. This is basically an emergency box, as I stated before. So I just want to keep that there. And then here on the second shelf, we have all of our soups and our broths and our bouillon. And then I just shoved some sliced beets here in this section with all the canned goods. And typically these are what I usually buy: corn, green beans, tomatoes, and I'm running a little bit low on all of them because of the holiday. So I will be filling these up most likely. And then up here is enchilada sauce, green chilies. That's kind of just where this stuff landed for now. Who knows? It could change. That's kind of why I really wanted to do everything with Velcro and nothing super permanent in case I end up changing things around. So that's the second shelf. And then the third shelf here, we have all of our rice. And these are the dog treats. I may just keep these in another cabinet. I'm not sure. But that's just kind of where I stuck them. We've got our, I didn't label pancake mix here because this could change, but this is where the pancake mix landed, which I thought was good right here next to where I keep the syrup. And this is all just random sauces. This will be in the fridge soon. Peanut butter. We're not big jelly eaters or jam, but we do have our peanut butter here and some extra olive oil. I keep this stuff over in another cabinet. This is another bottle that hasn't been used yet, so when I run out, I will replace it with this bottle. And then over here is all of our baking goods that we have for right now. I could be adding to this and might shuffle things around a little bit, but this is basically the baking corner. So we have our coconut oil, breadcrumbs, I figured kind of sort of goes with baking. So that's where it landed. We've got our raisins, our slivered almonds, and marshmallows, chocolate chips, etc. And then our fruits here, these will be in the fridge any day now. So I just kind of shoved these here for now, but we have our peaches and our pineapples. I usually don't have a ton of canned fruit, so I didn't need a big section for that. And then I've already talked about the SpaghettiOs, and we have all of our canned meats. That's where they landed. And then I explained this huge flour and salt thing here. We have our coffee grounds here. We're on the third shelf. We have our mashed potatoes. We have our pasta, which a lot of this needs to be replenished. I don't have any pasta sauce. That's where I would probably put the pasta sauce here. So that's why that's empty. And then this is just random stuff. I really didn't do a label or anything because, again, a lot of this I'm running low on. We have a couple of popcorns. We don't eat popcorn hardly ever. So these are just kind of shoved in the back here, I guess, just in case. So this is kind of just random stuff. And then here, I labeled this cookies. My husband loves cookies. We usually will always have some sort of cookies or something on hand. He takes these to work. So I just kind of put those in the cookie section. So that is kind of where we're at as of right now. And what I like is the versatility because of the Velcroed labels and because each thing, it's not overly labeled. So it gives me the versatility to be able to change things around if needed. And then I kept a lot of stuff off the floor. So I think those water jugs that I had down here, I think I'm going to put those in the garage. We have other water storage in the garage. So I think that is where those are going to go. And then the fly swatter that was randomly on the floor actually goes in the laundry room, which is this room over here. So that would be hung up in there. This is my dog food here. This is her dry dog food. So I cleaned off the lid. It was really gross and it rolls around, which is really cool. So that definitely stays in here. And what was the other thing we had in here? The juicer, which we've been meaning to use, is going to go somewhere else. It doesn't need to be in here. It was just kind of thrown in here. There was a lot of things just thrown in here. So I think this makes a lot of sense for us and works for us right now. And then over here, I had already had this up in here, this whiteboard. And basically what this is for is my list. So as I see things running low here in the pantry, I can just jot them down here. And that way when I go to make my grocery list, I have listed out what I need from the store as far as pantry items. The way this whole mess was before, I had no idea how many cans of diced tomatoes I had or green beans. I had no idea. It was just completely chaotic in here. So now I have a better idea when I go to the grocery store next what I need to replenish, and I can go ahead and just write it down on this whiteboard. And I just think that's a really good way to keep things organized. So that's where we landed, guys. That's how it all turned out. I think it came out really, really well. It was a lot of work, but so worth it. You guys will definitely have to let me know what you think in the comments. So that is it for today's video. I hope it brought you some inspiration and motivation to get into your pantry and create a clean and functional space for you and your family. If you have any questions on anything I used in this video, make sure to drop me a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to show me some love by subscribing and liking the video. Remember, a cluttered, disorganized space creates anxiety, stress, and a cluttered mind. Let's support each other as we tackle our hidden messes together. See you in the next one.